Hey guys, what's up? It's Ellie here. Game Informer has been uploading exclusive Deathloop content to their YouTube channel. This video specifically discusses the design of each of the 8 Visionaries, as well as Cult in detail, which is super cool. But guess what? We can actually connect names to the faces of the Visionaries we haven't learnt about yet. We're gonna skip Colt and Juliana for now, but I'll be making a separate video discussing the pair later, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Lead character artist at Arcane Studios, JB, is going to show us the character models for each Visionary up close and personal, and give us some hints about each one along the way. The first Visionary we get to meet is Alexis Dorsey, a loudmouth, self-proclaimed alpha wolf who loves to throw the biggest parties on the island and is obsessed with death and wolf iconography. He's the financer of the Aeon program, previously running a profiting pharmaceutical company, which we know thanks to an interview with narrative designer Bennett Smith in the How to Take Out Your Targets in Deathloop article on Bethesda.net. JB points out that he is always going to be wearing a mask, but I think it's likely we may see a picture of him from an old photo op laying around for Colt to find, thanks to his pharmaceutical days. For me, it's going to be the most anticipated face reveal of all time. The premise of Alexis's party is pretty similar to Dishonoured's Lady Boyle's last party, a party Corvo Attano sneaks into with the goal of eliminating the correct Lady Boyle, as there are 3 of them, and the party is a masquerade. Unfortunately for Alexis though, his big mouth is probably going to make it a bit easier. Alexis is the owner of the Kinesis ability, which is a buffed up, more controllable pull or wind blast. Think telekinesis and carnis, Latin for meat, which I'm assuming is how we got the name Kinesis. Next up is Igor Serling, a not so brilliant scientist and the founding visionary of the Aeon program. He's tasked with specifically protecting the time loop on Blackreef. He's a little obsessive and creates a new scientific breakthrough with each loop. Igor is a bit of a quirky character. He's a self-proclaimed pseudoscientist, which means a person who falsely claims to be a scientist. He wants to be left alone whilst also be viewed as a genius who is adored and constantly invited to parties. Ego is in his name. He's consistently one step away from a psychotic breakdown and really just needs to get loose. But it's up to Colt to manipulate his day to stop him from blowing off or being distracted from a party invite from Alexis and get them in the same place at the same time. His power seems to be an ability similar to Colt's Blink. Whether it's the same, I'm unsure, as well as an invisibility power that we definitely see Colt use in a different area, so it could be either power we obtain from him. A reference for Igor's character was Christopher Reeve, an actor most famous for playing the role of Superman in the late 70s. This was revealed by Sebastian Mitton in the FanFest IGN interview. Fear is the 3rd Visionary to be discussed, and the first name revealed since Frank Spicer in the Deja Vu trailer. Fear hasn't been shown much at all in the content released, but we can tell she seems to be an artsy, possibly quite laid-back type. What we also know is that Fear could be having an affair with another Visionary, thanks to this note by her picture in the Deathloop Explained video, which I have also analysed if you're interested. She has a very similar fashion colour palette as Igor. I'm unsure if this is meant to connect them in some way. Perhaps this is the Visionary she's having the affair with. I don't personally see it past the colours though. Sorry Igor. I'm thinking it might be Ramblin' Frank Spicer if it is one of the 8 Visionaries. I'm thinking it might be Ramblin' Frank Spicer if it is one of the other Visionaries, since he's a musician and she likes dancing. It makes a bit more sense to me. It's mentioned here by JB that Fear takes inspiration from a video clip of a Bob Fosse dance number named The Frug, which was a major dance craze from the 1960s. You can find this clip by searching up The Rich Man's Frug. As you can see, she very much resembles one of the main dancers here, with her long ponytail, black dress and long gloves. We've actually seen where Fear is standing before in a screenshot uploaded onto the Steam store page for Deathloop. I'm not sure what this thing is here, but it looks to me that it could be some sort of generator or engine, very rocket-like. We also see her using this control board, which could be controlling whatever it might be. We get to see a little more of Ramblin' Frank Spicer, an ex-mobster turned wannabe rock star who runs a radio show and heads security on the island of Blackreef. He runs his very own casino on the island called the Ramblin' Rock Club, in which he lives in and runs his radio show from, which we get to see a lot more in depth thanks to another Game Informer video released after the Deja Vu trailer. Frank's a crooner. It's an American slang term used to describe primarily male singers performed using a smooth style. Something you're likely familiar with if you play any of the Fallout games and listen to the in-game radio, hearing artists like Nat King Cole or Frank Sinatra. JB assures us that we'll get to hear some of his compositions in-game, but we'll need a special device to try to encounter him. My guess would be the device we've seen Colt use to hack security systems. Frank is the head of security here, so it makes sense that he's going to have some sort of big technological wall to get through. Next is Harriet Moss, someone we've somewhat decoded as a religious dictator with a cult-like following. The first thing JB notes is her hairstyle, a classic 60s look by a famous hairstylist named Vidal Sassoon, which I talk about a little in my concept art analysis. However, not much else is discussed about her sadly. Charlie Montague is the next in line. We've picked him out so far as someone who seems to be placed in an amusement type area. Notes around his picture in the Deathloop Explained video suggest that he's in charge of entertainment, is a sadistic game master who hates losing, and has possibly put his brain inside of a computer. Perhaps this explains the screens with eyes on them, Charlie using his technological advantage to have eyes all over his district. JB points out that though he looks a little bit older than the other Visionaries, he is in fact 24. And he has just had a very rough life, which is illustrated through the detailing of his skin as well as his choice of worn clothes. The very last Visionary JB discusses is Dr. Wenji Evans, clearly another intelligent scientist Colt is up against. She is described as cold and is said to have a very special power that will make Colt's life a lot harder. The notes around her picture in the Deathloop Explained video point out that she can be in 2 or 3 places at once, which makes me think that she might have some sort of cloning ability similar to Doppelganger in Dishonored 2. The second note is a bit harder to read. Studies something in Secret Lab. So there we have it. Everything we know about the Visionaries thus far. We're so close to the date of release, and I absolutely cannot wait to explore the world and gather all of the little details I can about each of these colourful characters. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, like the video. Who's your favourite Visionary so far? Tell me in the comments. See you guys in the next video. Bye!